So first of all, thank you so much for the invitation. This is incredible. I just want to give you a little bit of my background. My name is Dani Bogoricin, or Daniela Bogoricin, and I love that you did an Italian accent to my name. And some people do a French accent, and some people do Italian accent. So I love the diversity of how people talk about my last name. So this is me. I'm the director of Twitter Next APAC. I'm going to talk a little bit about Twitter Next in the following slides, but I just want to give a background of myself. I am the director of this team. It's a team of marketers, copywriters, creative designers, engineers, and project managers. We overview APAC. So we work with brands in China, in Southeast Asia, in India, and Australia. This is a very peculiar name because I am actually from Brazil. So I moved to Singapore in 10 months together with all this COVID situation. And I am really, really happy to be here and working with this team. And in the beginning, when I moved here, one of a behavior that I have normally when I join a team or when I'm working with a team is asking questions. And because I came from a LATAM market, one of the things that I wanted to do is ask a lot of questions to my team to understand their cultural nuances and the experience that they have and what are the challenge back here in Asia. So I thought that the best way to start this presentation is asking a question. So the first question that I would like to ask everyone is to guess who said this sentence, which is genius is about 1% inspiration, while 99% is about perspiration. And my team and we talked a lot about this quote, because who said it was Thomas Edison. I know that Thomas Edison doesn't have a tweet, but we just wanted to make it fun. And we talk a lot about this quote because of the consequences and the impact that this quote have when we are working. Because basically everything that you see and you hear today has pushed you toward a comfort zone that is inspired by this quote. This means that at times that we're living today, at the city that we're living today, it is a huge, huge mistake that we underestimate this 1%. And when we look at what is innovation in the Oxford Dictionary, we understand that innovation is a new method, a new idea, a new product, a new way of doing things. So what we want to talk here is innovation is not a value engineer process, but innovation is a value creation process. This means that we're not going to focus on the how and the what, but we're going to focus on the who and the why. What we're saying here is that the focus is not on the innovation itself, but it's on the innovators. It is about the people and the teams and the diversity of these teams and the way that these teams look at challenges and what they can do and be inspired with that challenges to not answer questions, but make questions that can inspire and then can push us forward. So people responding to these changes in a creative way. And this is where this presentation will lead us to. What are people doing today? What are people doing today on Twitter and outside of Twitter that has helped brands innovate and understand how to push forward their messages and how to push forward their businesses? So innovation is a state of mind. Innovation is an attitude. Innovation is a choice. So when we look, for example, at Jay Fei, she is the Bangkok's only Michelin-starred street food. Her way of innovation is very unique, but it tells more about who she are and what she does and her decisions, and less about the final product. So this is the invitation that I want to have during this presentation. We look not at the final part, but we look at the process that we are presenting here. And what does it take to be innovative, right? What does it take for people to be innovative, to look at things in a different way? And I want to reflect in three very simple pillars. The first one is curiosity. The second one is understanding. And the third one is making stuff. And I would go through the three of them and explaining a little bit on how my team has gone through these three pillars. So the first one, which is, observing, it's about listen with good intent. And this is something that we talk a lot in our team. It is not just listen, but listen with good intent. And we say that, attention is the purest and most generous form of exchange. And this is what we truly believe when we're putting together a project. So I would like to shift a little bit for us to talk about media entertainment in APAC, because I feel that it's a great industry, and it's a great topic that we love to talk, right? We love to talk to our friends about it, and I felt that this is a good way for us to start. So first of all, it's really important for us to understand that Asian Pacific is a unique regional, and there are peculiar differences in our cultural fabric. But there is a common denominator, and it's really important that we understand what is this common denominator. So all these regions, and we're talking about a big region, have had a dominant local media landscape. What does this mean is I'm going to give you a little bit of some numbers, and I'm going to interpret and give insights on those numbers and tell what we did with these numbers. So first of all, we have 797 million entertainment-related conversations in the beginning of the years. It's a huge, huge, huge number when we look at entertainment itself in this region. When we look at these numbers shared in the industry that we work with, so India, Australia, and Southeast Asia countries, we see this number being represented in a big, huge way. And when we look at why are these numbers increasing, I just want to give a little bit more context. So when we look at Australia, we're talking about streaming. We're talking about people are talking about streaming, and people are talking about movies all the time. When we're talking about India, they're talking about streaming and movies, but they're talking a lot about local and cultural content that they see in streaming and movies and different platforms. And when we talk about Southeast Asia, we are talking about Kpop. So Kpop has been a big, and if you use Twitter, you know that there's always a trending topic there around Kpop. There's always a trending topic around, a new single. And Kpop is one of the biggest influence of that spikes on Southeast Asia. When we deep down on these numbers, we see that for India especially, there's a huge, huge peak on recommendation. And recommendation is something that people talk a lot on Twitter. They want to know what people are watching. They want to know what to watch. And probably you're thinking right now, oh, I do that a lot with my family. I do that with my friends. I ask them, what are you watching? What did you just watch? What do you recommend? And this is something that we see a lot happening in India. So because of these numbers, my team in India, they put together this incredible work with the Netflix India. So what did they do is Netflix India launched a recommendation engine to help people discover the wide options from the Netflix library. So how did it work? Basically, every Friday, Netflix India launches an engine with a master tweet. So in this master tweet, they ask, okay, what are you looking for your Friday night watch? And they ask you to comment with the hashtag, which is Netflix Matchmaker. And if you have been watching Netflix recently, you know that, the matchmaking content and topic is a big trend. So you use the hashtag Netflix Matchmaker with a custom emoji and any emoji of your choice, any emoji that you feel that it's your mood right now. And after you do that, Netflix responds to you with the recommendation from their library. So basically what they do is there's a backend, and that backend, there's an emoji for all the Netflix library listed. So in terms of minutes and seconds, you will receive, based on your emoji use, an auto response with a recommendation from the Netflix library. So this is a way that we have been understanding people, understanding what people are doing, understanding what people want. I would love to talk about, Twitter and K-pop, because I feel this is very, very aligned with what we're doing here in APEC. And this is a big conversation in APEC, but not just in APEC, in the world. I don't know if everybody knows, but when we talk about K-pop, there's 6.1 billion tweets of K-pop related in 2019. And this is a huge number. It's an unbelievable number. When we look at the 20 most the countries that tweets more about K-pop, you see that it's not about Southeast Asia. There's a lot of countries worldwide, but half of it comes from the Southeast Asia market. And I don't know if everybody knows, but there are more than 370 K-pop groups today. And if you can name 30 of them, you're a true fan. And this is a quiz that we saw from the BuzzFeed. And I just listed some of them here at my slides, so for you to have a little bit of look and feel of, the enormous universe that K-pop is. For 2020, 26 group has debuted in the first part of the year, and it's speculated that there will be 34 new groups in 2020. We have a specialist for K-pop in our team, and she is digging in those numbers almost every week so that we can bring new insights to brands that are working with K-pop and K-pop universe. Because of that, what did we do? We understood that fans also are talking about beauty, fashion, and tech, not just the K-pop artists and not just their music. It's more or less 4.1 million tweets we're talking about brands in this K-pop universe. And this is a really quite interesting case study, because a K-pop artist talked about Downy, and in terms of one day, 24 hours, every Downy product everywhere in the world was sold out. So just for you to understand how different this is. And what we did with Spotify, so we work with Spotify. They have a handle that runs K-pop activation in Philippines, Indonesia, and Malaysia. And we did what we understood is, because K-pop fans has no longer keep up with these singles and albums and bands. So we worked in a shortcut to find out what else they might be liking. Because they normally stick to singers and to top 100 playlists and not to new things that are happening in this universe. So what we did was something we called the Spotify K-pop playlist. Basically, what this means is this is a quiz that you could just dial in from Twitter. So you will see this tweet. And from this tweet, you will answer some questions, not questions around K-pop, but questions around things that we know, right? So what would your friends usually do? What things you could go wrong? What would you do? Or what will you cheer up for the most? Which is the most important to you? So there are questions that it's normal questions. And then we will give back to that user based on their personality, would they listen, and a new way of listening to K-pop for the Spotify new playlists. The second pillar that I wanted to talk is about building ideas from perceptible realities. And this is a very tough love pillar, because we know that 77% of the brands could simply disappear and no one would care. And this is a survey from Havas. And when we looked at this number, it strikes us, right? As a brand, it strikes us on, okay, what should we be doing so that we are appealing enough, we can drive conversations and we can drive meaningful conversations. And this is, I don't know if everybody has read that, but this is a book called How Not to Plan. And Sarah Carter, who is a co-author, says that, people don't give a shit actually of what brands are doing. They know their brands, but actually if brands disappeared, it was okay for them. They could just live their lives. And this is something really important that we should all consider. And I love this quote from Ron from the Heineken company. He's the global media of the Heineken company. And he says, I can't force communication down people's throat like I used to. And I love the honesty from Ron here, but I love the way that Ron is reframing his way of looking at communication and the way that he's reframing on looking at how to work better with consumers and with people, right? And I would love to present this work done by the team that overlooks the Chinese brands. So I don't know if everybody knows, but Ramadan in the Middle East is a huge conversation that happens on Twitter. And they had to work with Shein, which is a fast fashion online website, and how to inspire shoppers with Shein's Ramadan looks during a pandemic, right? One of the things that we understood is that because people were staying home, they were a long time scrolling on their screens and looking at things. And this is a really good, a very insightful tweet that says, I think I'll definitely need glasses by the time this lockdown is over with all the scrolling I have on the screens. And when we stop and when we pause right here and we hear about this, we know that this is something that we are doing, right? Especially during this pandemic. So what the Twitter Next Greater China team did was they put together a thread walk. So from catwalk to thread walk, they explore Ramadan runway looks with Shein one scroll at a time. So basically, it's a runway that you can see through a Twitter handle. So you just scroll down and you would see parts of the garment, you will see parts of the apparel, you would see how much will it cost. And it's almost like an experience of a runway, but sitting, looking at your phone. And the last pillar that I wanted to talk to you is experimenting stuff is the heart of everything, right? And I love this quote from Crystal Ricks. She's the Chief Strategy Officer for BBDO New York. And she states that understand where the curve of conversation is and what people need from brands at that point of the curve is essential for us to be part of those conversations. And I truly believe that Crystal is right, because if we understand what is the best part for us to talk to these people, it's where we will strive as a brand and we will strive as a communicator, a marketeer. So I would like to introduce this work that we did with Xbox for Australia. So Xbox Australia created the world's Twitter first gaming engine to fuel fans' excitement at the PAX in around Australia. PAX is, if someone doesn't know what PAX is a gaming event that happens in Australia. It's a huge gaming event. Lots of people go to this place and they play games, they understand what's happening in the gaming world. So what basically we did was we separated two audiences, the online audience and the on-site audience. For the online audience, we worked with the hungry publishers and game-related content, especially during regional events at PAX. And on-site, we build a biggest gaming event inside the events. So because people normally, when they go to the events, they go for sneak peeks, for upcoming content, and of course for swags. So we build this ecosystem, not just on site, but online as well. So how did it work? So we had, these are the activations that we had. So one activation was engage with Xbox tweets and you'll get some points. The other one would be find and unlock QR codes on site, other points, guess the correct hashtag on site, other points, and guess the correct emoji combination and other points. So people that were online and people that were on site, they could work and they could build together this game engine leaderboard, and not just looking of the news and the buzz that is happening in PAX, but they will be joining and talking about those new comments, new games. So this is basically what the tweet engagement looked like. It was about, in case you missed something, you would engage and then you receive some notifications. We had QR codes, so there were QR codes hidden throughout the event and gave fans a chance to tweet to unlock points so that they can just move up on their leaderboard. There were QR challenges as well. So you would, how it works. So you would use the QR challenge, you would tweet to unlock. There was a pre-composed tweet and you would you would tweet that pre-composed tweet so that you could get points. A hashtag collect, a hashtag challenge. So fans were encouraged to find those hidden hashtags around the Xbox booth and complete them by tweeting their corresponding answers. So this is what it looked like during this event. And this is what fans would find. So fans find an incomplete hashtag, they would tweet the hashtag, an automated reply will come to them explaining what is the hidden hashtag and what is the hidden game and the points that they got there. Lastly, we had an emoji challenge. So fans earn even more points by guessing the correct 5 emojis for each game challenge. So people would try to guess what is the emoji for each one of the challenge of the Xbox games. It was fun because you would see completely different emojis that people were using for each one of the challenges. So fans give a selection of emojis to choose. Fans will reply with the guess. An automatic reply will come to that person to say if they got it right or got it wrong. So basically, the digital leaderboard will just place your score into this huge leaderboard that was happening on site during this event. So here's more or less where it looked like. And you would see people just going through the Xbox, the Xbox plays in that event, not just to know about the products and the service and the games, but to actually be part and engage with these activations. So what we're saying here is when we focus on people, we will never run out of ideas, right? And this is exactly what Twitter Next does. So Twitter Next is a team that we are focused on human-centric ideas worth talking about. So it's not just about technology, it is about what's happening in the world through people's lenses and what brands can do to be part of the conversations and engage with these conversations. Worth talking about is our metric of success, and this is how we work. Today, we work with the pillars of strategy, technology, and design and data science to build the best worth talking about cases with these brands. This is where Twitter Next team is. It is where we are. So we have in Latin America, we have a lot teams in the US, we have teams in Europe, we have teams in Asia, and we have a team in Australia. And what I was saying, we partner with brands to help them build human-centric ideas that are worth talking about. But basically what we do is we don't work to answer questions, we work to make questions. And this is extremely important so that brands understand that at the end of the day, the tools that they need probably are with them and not with us. And that's it. Thank you so much.